guys. Welcome to the pre-market overview. Today is Wednesday, August 19th. So welcome. Hope you guys are having a good trading week so far. So just a reminder for those that maybe are new to this, my name is Becky. Becky@tradewithufos.com is my email address, so you can get me on that. There's also the support team, support@tradewithufos.com. These guys are a team, so obviously often better at responding quickly. So email the support team, support@tradewithufos.com. We're all traders, so I'm all happy to help in the team. So again, just I was going to say a reminder, but if you're new to it, it's not a reminder, it's new information. That what we go over in the pre-market overview is our newsletter. So the newsletter is a document that we send out every day, Monday to Friday. And in that document, we go through 4 of the major markets in the world. We talk about where we think they're going, how long we think they're going to go there for, where they could turn, volatility and news. So we do the pre-market overview for 15-20 minutes where we just expand on these concepts, explain how we came to the conclusions that we did, how we've used the technology to get there. So that's what we go through. So if you want to subscribe to the newsletter, you can email us, newsletter@tradewithufos.com. We will put you on that subscription list and then you will have that for yourself. Okay, so a couple of reminders for those that are joining us from within the Tradewituf team or Tradewituf channel. You've got futures and options today, and today being Wednesday, you've got futures at 9 a.m. and options at 1 p.m. Eastern. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, we have stocks and investing sessions. Over the weekend, we have sharpening, where we go into methodology, questions and answers, psychology sessions as well, very, very important. In terms of upcoming live courses, again, we are in the middle of a psychology class at the moment. After that, we have futures, August 22nd to 28th, then trading plans at the end of the month, and then back testing towards the end of September. So I just need to put the disclaimer on the screen there. It's a long disclaimer, so I'm not going to read it. You are welcome to mute me so that you can read it if you'd like, or you can obviously pause the video if you'd like to do that and read the disclaimer. You can also go to www.youcantrade.com and get additional disclosure information on there. In a nutshell, what we're saying here is that we're not giving you trading advice or tips. It's all ideas and demonstrations. So we're showing you how we use the product. We're showing you how we use the technology. It's obviously up to you as an individual trader to take on any risk that you're comfortable with. And of course, be aware that risk is inherently involved when you trade. Okay, so now that we've done that, let's crack on and go through the newsletter. So this is what it looks like. So as I said, this is something that comes out every single day, and we go through 4 of the major markets in the world. So we have the S&P, obviously one of the major equity indexes in the world, oil and gold, both huge commodities, and then the euro, which when looked at as the euro-US dollar is the highest traded currency pair in the world. In fact, the US dollar just by itself is responsible for about 80% of transactions worldwide every day in the markets. So fair to say we've covered quite a bit. We've covered quite a lot of what goes on out there in the markets in terms of volume, definitely. Even if you don't trade these markets specifically, I'm sure what you trade will have some correlations. Now, you'll notice as well, we're going through a daily time frame on each of these markets. Of course, different things happen on different time frames. If you're a long-term investor or a short-term trader, though, most of the time the daily does fall within what people are doing. Okay, so for each market, we're going to go through climate, which is effectively trend. What direction is the market moving in? But more importantly, what are the probabilities associated with that? Then we have propagating, which means how long can we expect that climate to continue? So if we're in an upwards climate or an upwards trend, how long can we expect to keep going up for? If we're in a downwards climate or downwards trend, how long can we expect to keep going down for? We get this information by understanding what normally happens. So what's the statistical likelihood? What are the probabilities associated? So how long does the market normally go in that direction for, either up or down? And how far are we into that movement now? So we can understand, based on the probabilities of what usually happens and what's happening now, the likelihood of it continuing. Now, what we also want to understand is nearest UFOs. That is where we expect there to be big stacks of orders in the markets. UFO stands for unfilled orders. Although we show them as flying saucers, the acronym does mean unfilled orders. And what we mean by that is where there's going to be big stacks of buy orders in the markets that can push price upwards, or big stacks of sell orders that can push price downwards. We use our Auto UFO app to find that on a chart, and it highlights to us where those orders are likely to be. For the climate and propagating, we use our ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app. I'll show you that on the chart as well. That's where we get the statistics there. So we're using technology to enhance our statistical advantage. It's all about putting as many probabilities on our side as possible in as objective way as we can, hence why we use the technology to do so. Now for each market as well, we are going to understand volatility. Volatility means how far we expect price to move within given periods of time, or how quickly we expect price to move. Now we get the main numbers here from the current implied volatility. Now you'll see here, these numbers are all percentages. They refer to the movement expected in 1 year. So it's a movement up or down in 1 year based on a percentage of its current value. Now these numbers come from the options of these markets. Options traders are often professional traders. They're the ones buying and selling options and therefore setting the price of them. And what they're willing to buy and sell it for is inherent in that is the risk they're willing to take based on how far they think it will move. So in effect, the options prices and therefore these current implied volatility prices reflect a professional opinion in terms of volatility. So that's where we get these numbers from. We can then reverse engineer it and understand what we expect to happen up or down in a day, up or down in a week, or up or down in a month. Okay, so we'll go through these for each market, the climate, the propagating, the UFOs, and the volatility, and then we'll come down to understand the news that we have this week that could impact us. Okay, cool. So lots to do. We're going to start with the S&P. We are using SPX.X. That's the symbol on TradeStation for the S&P index. Okay, so we'll see at the bottom here. This is our ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app. So the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app tells us one of three things. Either we have a thick blue dot, which is what we see here. That tells us that we're in an upwards climate and upwards trend and that we have probabilities to the upside. It could be a thick red dot. That would mean we're in a downwards climate or a downwards trend and that we have probabilities to the downside. Or it could be a thin dot of either color. The color still tells us the direction, but the fact that it's a thin dot is the ᴾᴿᴱMARKET app telling us that we have less probabilities, less statistical advantage, and therefore we would most of the time choose to do nothing on those days as traders. So here we have a thick blue dot telling us confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside. Now, in terms of orders on the chart, where we expect there to be buy orders that could push price up, closest stack of buy orders is here, 3294.61 to 3284.53. Now we don't actually have, I'm just going to squidge price here to prove my point, we don't actually have any sell orders above us. That's because we've pretty much hit all-time highs now. There's no sell orders above us because there's no price above us, which means that we obviously have no evidence on the chart yet for selling pressure. So for the time being, confirmed upwards climate and buy UFOs, no indications for selling for now. Now, in terms of propagating, how long can we expect the S&P to continue to go up? Well, normally it goes up for 10 candles on a daily chart. By the way, I know that says 9.37. I'm just rounding it up. So every number that's on the right-hand side, I'm just going to round it up to the next one, whatever the decimal place is. So normally the S&P goes up for 10 candles and we're on candle number 14. So we're overextended there. We are over what is statistically probable for a movement to the upside. Now, that's not to say we won't keep pushing those boundaries. We've seen it loads of times where, of course, things fall outside of probabilities, outside of statistical averages. Of course, you have thousands of bits of data or millions of pieces of data. Of course, there are going to be anomalies that fall outside of the average. So that's not to say that this won't continue. It's just saying that we are starting to lose probabilities there. The longer we go past what is statistically likely, the less likely it is to happen, meaning we have less odds on our favor, less probability for it to continue. So just bear that in mind. Okay, so in terms of volatility for the S&P, we look at VIX.X, we look at the VIX, and we see from that we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 21.64%, which means in a day, we expect a movement up or down of 46.21 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 101.72 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 211.76 points. So again, that comes from the options of these markets, which are professional traders' opinions as to the volatility we can expect. Okay, so that's the S&P. Let's move on to the next market. We're going to look at oil. We're looking at CL. That's the continuous futures contract for oil. Just going to wait for that to load and populate. And then I've got to move price a little bit so we see what we need to see. Unsquish it. Just about brilliant. We can see what we need. Okay, so once again, we have a thick blue dot showing to us by our auto climate app, telling us we're in a confirmed upwards climate. We have probabilities to the upside. Now, yesterday we had a buy UFO just below us, but it's disappeared now, meaning that a lot of those buy orders are gone. So now the next closest stack of buy orders is this one all the way down here. The numbers for that are 26.31 to 25.18. Now, we can see it's nestled on top of another one, so we have two stacks of buy orders just on top of each other there. Closest stack of sell orders is shown to us here by our red UFO, and that's at 53.83 to 55.71. And at the moment, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, not really near either side. We can kind of tell that because for the last few weeks, price hasn't really done much. It's just sort of bobbed around in the middle there. There's been no big stacks of orders to move it one way or the other. And whenever we've had them, they've disappeared pretty quickly. Again, meaning there wasn't too many buy orders there or sell orders. So how long can we expect the markets to continue to go up? Well, normally oil would go up for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 7. So we've reached the end of the statistical average. We've reached the end of what is probable to happen to the upside. Now, as we said, we're not close to either buy orders or sell orders at the moment. So really it could drop to the floor, it could go to the moon. There's nothing to stop it either way for quite a while, either side of price. So we do still have confirmed probabilities to the upside. We saw that with our thick blue dot, the confirmed upwards climate there. So although we've come to the end of this climate, at the moment, nothing to stop it or turn it around. But again, just bear in mind that as we start to push past that statistical average or that statistical likelihood, again, we lack probabilities for it to continue to move to the upside. Okay, so in terms of volatility, we use OVX.X. That tells us the volatility we can expect for oil. So we see from that we expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 31.70%. Meaning in a day, a movement up or down of 0.85 points. In a week, a movement up or down of 1.88 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 3.91 points. Okay, next market, let's look at gold. Gold is the next one at GC. Once again, that's the continuous futures contract there for gold. Okay, so I'm just going to move that a little bit just in case my face is in the way of the numbers there. So once again, we have a thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate, probability to the upside. By the way, I'll show you on the newsletter in a minute how we show you on the newsletter if it's unconfirmed. So closest stack of buy orders is here, 1963.8 to 1939.1. Closest stack of sell orders is here, 2039.7 to 2060.8. Again, we are slightly closer to the sell orders there, or actually probably about in the middle. Not much distance between the two. So we've got buying pressure beneath us, selling pressure just above us, and we have a confirmed upwards climate, so pushing us potentially back up towards that sell UFO. So we can see here that normally gold would go up for 7 candles, and we're on candle number 2. So usually we would expect this to keep going up for another few days. Saying that, we do have that stack of sell orders, that sell UFO just above us, so that could potentially alter this and potentially change the climate the other way. Effectively, we have 2 sets of forces moving against each other there. We've got a confirmed upwards climate with probabilities for it to continue, as well as a buy UFO beneath us. Those are all buying pressure. Those are all buying signals. And then we have a sell order, stack of sell orders above us. So we have selling pressure just above. Whoever has the most orders will win. If the buy orders are more, price will go up. If the sell orders are more, then price will turn and come back down. So we'll see which one wins. Now, just to show you, if the climate was unconfirmed, we would put a little cross here by the arrow. Obviously, today, all of our climates are confirmed to the upside, which is why you don't see any crosses. But if you do see a cross, that's what it means. It means that we have an unconfirmed climate. Okay, so in terms of volatility for gold, we look at GVZ.X or GVZ.X if you say it properly. And the movement up or down in a year is expected to be 26.46%, meaning in 1 day, we expect a movement up or down of 33.2 points. In a week, up or down of 73.2 points. And in a month, a movement up or down of 152.4 points. Okay, last market, we're going to look at the Euro US dollar, which, as I said, is the highest traded currency pair in the world. A lot of volume moves through that market. It's the spot forex for it. So I'm just going to move it a little bit here once again so we can see everything we need to see. I want to get all those buy orders in to make a point. Okay, so once again, thick blue dot, confirmed upwards climate, probabilities to the upside. Closest buy orders just below us, 1.1842 to 1.1711. Just rounded that to where it needs to be to the pip. Closest stack of sell orders up here, 1.2344 to 1.2414. Again, I've just rounded that where it needs to be. Now we can see here, just to make the point about what we expect our UFOs to do. So we can see that we've had multiple stacks of buy orders, one on top of the other. I think that's eight or nine, just on top of each other. Meaning we've had buy orders come in, push price up. Price comes back to the buy orders, gets pushed up again. Now we can see here, this one here is a buy UFO, still valid. Price came back in, hit the buy UFO, went up, came back in, hit the buy UFO again, went up, and it pushed price to the upside. That's what we expect our buy UFOs to do, is push price upwards. We expect our sell UFOs, the red UFOs, to push price downwards. And we can see that happening in front of our eyes here with the Euro US dollar. Okay, so Euro US dollar confirmed upwards climate normally goes up for 5 candles in a row, and we're on candle number 5. So once again, come to the end of the statistical likelihood for a movement to the upside. However, as we saw, we don't have sell UFOs close by. We do have loads and loads of buy orders beneath us. Now, unless new orders come into the market and change things, which can obviously always happen, we do have probabilities there to the upside. Although, again, bear in mind, as we go into tomorrow, if we continue to move to the upside, we start to lose probability that it will continue. Okay. So in terms of volatility for the euro, we look at EVZ.X or EVZ.X. We expect a movement up or down in 1 year of 8.59%, meaning in a day, a movement up or down of 65 pips. In a week, a movement up or down of 124 pips. And in a month, up or down of 296 pips. So again, the volatility figures give us an idea of professional traders' opinion as to how far we can expect these prices to move. The climate and the propagating tell us in which direction we're likely to see that movement and for how long. And the nearest UFOs tell us where price could turn and these climates could change direction. Okay, so that's everything in terms of technology, in terms of the direct forces. So let's come down and understand indirect forces a little bit there. Now, what I mean by that is that the most direct forces we have in the markets to move them up and down are buy orders and sell orders. That's all we have, buying and selling. That's what makes price go up or down. Now, of course, there could be multiple reasons why there are buy orders and sell orders. So we do need to look at more indirect forces as well, forces that could create buy orders or sell orders. And news is obviously a big one of those things, reports that come out. Pretty quiet week this week. We had nothing Monday and yesterday. Today is the first and only day this week where we have high impact news. So just so you know, we go to fxstreet.com/economic-calendar. And we filter by, I'll just get rid of these arrows here, high impact news and US markets. So of course, if you trade outside of that, you can go to the link, change the filters about there and see what suits your trade plan a bit better. As we can see here, today being Wednesday is the only high impact news we have this week, and it's coming out at 2 p.m. Eastern today, and that's the FOMC. So that often causes quite a movement in the markets. Not always, but again, just be aware of that. We're likely to see some volatility today off the back of that news. Once it comes out, we can click report and we can understand what went on behind that if we choose to. Okay, so that is the climate, the propagating, the UFOs, the volatility, and the news that we expect to have impact. If you want to join us on the rest of our sessions, futures, options, investing, stocks, psychology, sharpening, where we go through methodology and things like that, as well as the support and resources, you can join us at tradictive.com/youcantrade. I get sometimes we don't know whether or not it's going to be a good idea to join some sort of educational thing. So you can join us for 14 days, 2 weeks for free first, see if you like it, and then go from there if it does suit you. In terms of full courses, for those that maybe want to learn a little bit more from the ground up, from the foundations up, and understand how we use this technology when applied to various markets, the next one that we have is the futures course, live futures course. So if you go to tradictive.com/futures live, you can learn more about that there and how we do that and how it's packaged together. Now, we do have a offer at the moment, which is basically buy one, get one free. Choose any course and you get an additional one for free. Now, the second one has to be of equal or lesser value than the first one. So if you go to the website, see what courses we do, see which ones obviously suit you better, and how you can put it together in such a way where you make the most of that deal so that you can get the most for it. If you have any questions about anything, you can email us support@tradewithufos.com, not just about courses or anything. If you have questions on the technology or on what we covered today, of course, you're welcome to email us. So for those of you that are joining us from within the channel, we'll see you later on today in the futures and options sessions. Also today at 4:15 p.m. Eastern, my colleague Boyan will be looking at what did happen in the markets, what went as expected, which of these forces did move, what happened with the news, what happened with the volatility, which forces won out, what can we learn from it to move on in our trading. And we will be back, or I'll be back tomorrow morning for the overview. So I'll see you tomorrow morning. Otherwise, have a great trading day. Have a great time in the sessions if you're joining us. If not, I will see you tomorrow.